In the story that Star witnessed, Christmas introduced himself as Christ Mos, also known as Christ Moses, born on Ethiopian Christmas Day. And he says he also goes by the name of Job. Therefore, Job, being Christ, has to be an angel. So when asked about his birth certificate, where's his mother, Christ replied that he doesn't have a mother. Why? Because he's an angel. So let's read. And Sariah became father to Job. And how did he do that? God's own spirit made me, and the Almighty's own breath proceeded to bring me to life, as recorded by Job. So that's how God made him, with his breath of life. So who is Job? Job is the man of the true God. Why? Because he is Moses. So how was Moses made? Just like Adam. This is the book of the generations of Adam, the day that God created man, in the likeness God made he him. Male and female created he them, and blessed them, and called their name Adam in the day when they were created. So as you can clearly see, God made male and female, not babies. So let's read. Who is his favorite? So in the same book of Genesis, Genesis 37:3, you will find that Israel, who is God, loved Joseph more than all his children. Joseph also goes by the name of Josedek, also goes by the name of Job, also goes by the name of David, because according to the commandment of David, the man of God. In other words, Moses is another name for David. Why? Because Christ has many names. So let's watch. Lies.
Another on the camera of the daycare center. And it even says Overlook, the hotel where the shining took place. Now, here's a photograph you don't see often. In 1966, Kubrick is seen meeting with NASA officials and employees as well as Arthur C. Clarke. Pretty damning photograph. Just 3 years before the first moon landing, Kubrick happens to be running with NASA and a well-known author of sci-fi books and the man who helped him create 2001: A Space Odyssey. A #1 box office hit for mental conditioning of the masses. And then, what do you know, 1 year later, the first Apollo mission takes place. You know, at some point, you have to see the signs for what they are, being more than just mere coincidence. And of course, with Disney, you do enough research and you'll find out that Walt Disney was a Freemason, a dark occultist obsessed with magic, and deeply connected with NASA to help propagate the idea of space travel to the masses. You have Nazi scientist Werner von Braun, lead rocket engineer of NASA, thanks to Operation Paperclip, and the world's greatest animator of his era. But we'll get more into that next time. It's pretty clear that NASA, Hollywood, and Disney are all interconnected, so before you fall for the fake Stanley Kubrick interviews and behind-the-scenes footage, understand Kubrick has been seen with NASA officials before the movie, during the movie, and left plenty of clues in both The Shining and The Odyssey. If you see...
Hello, pay attention. Just like pay attention, Job. Genesis lets you know, after offers convincing evidence that Jobab and Job are the same person. In other words, Job. So Job first emerges as a military leader during David's rise to power. He is best known for his role as the commander of David's army. So remember, Job is the commander of David's army. So who is the commander of God's army? Who is Moses? Is the commander of the army of the Lord. So who was Job? Job was the commander of David's army. And we all know that David, the root of David, is crowned the Lord of Lords, the King of Kings. And if you don't know the similarities, then you need to go to Star Witness, part 305, where it lets you know that Aaron is Levi and Moses is Joseph. And Aaron, if you don't know, is the first Levi. Therefore, Aaron is Levi. And if Moses is Aaron's brother and Joseph is Levi's brother, therefore Joseph and Moses has to be the same person. So if you go to Star Witness part 303, you'll see if Joseph is the brother to Solomon Moses, then he has to be the same person. So I suggest you watch those two videos. And know this. In the Ethiopian Bible, you will find the first book of Esdras. So it's a biblical book. And within the first and second book of Esdras, it lets you know that God, who also goes by the name of Heli, is supposed to be here with Moses and the son of Aaron of the tribe of Levi. And who else is supposed to be here? Jesus. Also, Jesus is here. When? When God gave Moses, also known as Esdras. So Esdras, the priest and reader, bring the law of Moses that was given of the Lord of the God Israel. In other words, Esdras is Moses. And who is there? Jesus. And when is this supposed to happen? In the latter times. So if I, Esdras, receive the charge of the Lord upon the Mount Horeb, that I shall go unto Israel, and I came unto them, and they sought me not, and despised the commandment. So in other words, Esdras was given the commandment, given to him by God, that shall come at the end of the world. So who is God? God is Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Osias, Amos, Michias, Joel, Abdias, Jonas, Nahum, Habakkuk, Sophonias, Aggeus, Zechariah, Malachi, which is called also an angel of the Lord. So thus said the Lord, I brought this people out of bondage by my commandments, which happens at the end of the world. So don't forget, the original Ethiopian Bible was not in the Old and New Testament format. And Haile Selassie, I let you know that it's supposed to be 72 books, not that 88 books. The Haile Selassie version of the Bible, which was published in 1962, contains a narrow canon in Amharic, translated only from Ge'ez. And in it you will find 72 books. So follow Jah, not man. So in the history of the world, it has often been possible to defy truth and perpetuate lies. But truth, like the sun, is with us always. It cannot be hidden forever. Haile Selassie the first. Follow Jah, not man.